Hello, how you guys doing? You guys doing good? It's time for spooky spaghetti. Creepypasta. I found a whole bunch of them. I also need to play this Godzilla creepypasta game, God, I wish I could remember who recommended it, but they keep recommending that I play it, and then I don't, because I'm garbage. I can't get the thing to load. We'll worry about that in a minute. I don't know why the internets aren't working. How are you guys doing? Are the internets working for you? Let's listen to some creepypasta. Well, I'll read them, then you listen. That's how this works. Rain, because it's atmospheric. I'll get rid of this static this time. I was trying to make it sound like rain. It just, I don't know. Bad, thanks for asking. No worries, dude. I know the mood. Anyway, creepypasta. I found these. I've read, or at least listened to, about half of them. And some of them suck. Some of them are good. I'm not going to tell you which ones are which. You're going to just have to find out as we go. This first one is called My Buddy Sandman. I went for like classic creepypastas. Just trying to get a good collection of stuff that we haven't read. I know a lot of people want me to read Candle Cove. Can't. It's just not a thing, because the guy explicitly says that he doesn't want people to do that. So I'm not gonna. Which is unfortunate, because that's a really solid one. But anyway. In the early 90s, when I was attending Penn State University, I once knew a man named Sandman Archibald Burnford. Yes, that was his honest-to-God, real-life, on-birth certificate, on driver's license, stitched to his underwear birth name. I thought the names of celebrities were giving children these days were awful, but this kid had a stupid name before stupid names were chic. I always figured his parents were some flower children and named him on some sort of acid trip. In any case, Sandman and I had a freshman composition class together, and I would occasionally kill time in the library. He was a nice guy, 17 years old, if I remember correctly. What? What is that word? I mean, mixed race. Okay, that's a odd phrasing. Shy but friendly. Always carried around the biggest laptop computer you ever want to see. But at the time, it was pretty impressive to see. Did I just say a slur and not realize it? Someone who was always considering what to do with a portable computer. I would see him with his nose on the LCD screen, analyzing some code or scrutinizing the pixels of some image he was trying to edit. Sandman hung around with some older students who were either interested in or taking classes in computer programming, film, graphic design, his current major, and photography, while gravitating towards the other freshmen, the world literature courses I took. While I gravitated towards the okay. I, however, kept in the loop as the progress of the project that Sandman and his pals were working on. He would talk to me from time to time about his game he was helping them make. From what I gathered at the time, it was a mix of text-based horror and point-and-click dungeon crawler they were calling Warlock, with an E. Warlock. You don't want the rain sound effects? Do you guys like the rain sound effects? I kind of find it... I don't know if it actually works. You want rain sound effects? We'll do this for a bit, and then we might switch over to Isaac. We do. Yeah, I just don't have them on right now, because I figured it sounded like static, because people complained. But, all right, here we go. Fruity Loops. No, I already own it. I don't want to buy it again. Fuck off, Bing. Fruity Loops. Yep, that's the folder. There we go. All right. Lightrain.flp. How's that? We got rain vibes now. Better? Okay. Rain is appreciated now. He was wildly excited to be involved in working on this project. He was almost giddy when he was talking about it, grinning stupidly while he assured me Warlock was going to be the next big thing in gaming. I always humored him, although in reality I thought the whole thing was just a pipe dream. There was progress being made, though, as he would sometimes show me a bit of what the team had accomplished thus far. It looked okay, but I didn't quite see how I was going to achieve the popularity that he was so sure of. The premise is a simple one. Get through the dungeon, collect the items, fight the baddies, save the princess. You know the drill. The hook, however, was this is going to be an adult-only game with digitized photos depicting graphic violence and nudity. That adult theme was the gimmick that would serve as a selling point, getting grown-ups to pick it up and teenagers to lust after it. I guess I really couldn't argue in the sex and violence sell. Sandman's contribution was to help with the digitization and editing the photos to be used in the game. Lots of blood and guts and stuff that you would see in Pangora magazine, which I haven't heard anyone talk about in a long time. There's a local magazine down here called Gore that's kind of the same vibe, of which Sandman usually had a copy. He let me, or more accurately made me, borrow a tape to watch one time on which he had recorded some of his favorite bits of movies like Mondo Cane, Faces of Death, and various Italian cannibal films, which apparently is a genre. Pretty sick stuff. Not my cup of tea, but nothing unheard of. For the first few weeks, I was hearing a lot about Warlock and on how underground gaming was going to break into the mainstream. But gradually, Sandman's excitement seemed to wane. Eventually asked him about the progress of the game, and all he said all he knew was it was in development. After a few days, I saw him fervently working on his monolith of a laptop again. When I inquired, he stated that the game was getting a graphical overhaul and the process of digitation and cleaning up a few new grisly photos. I chuckled and wished him luck. It was later that month, after spring break, that I met up with Sandman in the library after the statistics class. When he saw me approaching, he let loose the toothiest grin I ever saw from him and held up a 3.5-inch floppy disk. He reminded me of Lady Liberty, towering high with her torch in hand. I sat next to him, and he proceeded to tell me the beta version was playable and almost ready to shop around to distributors. He opened his laptop case and handed me some stacks of about a dozen floppies. Here, he said, take this home and let me know what you think. Sure, I agreed, and with a chuckle adding, I hope my computer has enough juice to run it. A few days of "Did you play it yet?" from Sandman, I finally got around to checking what I was told would be the best-selling game of 1992. The year by which they were sure to have in mass distribution. On a Thursday evening at home, I popped the floppy disk into my Packard Bell and booted her up into DOS. The setup ran smoothly and finished the configuration in about 10 minutes. Upon launching the program, I noticed that the title screen was fairly professional. Maybe I had underestimated the ragtag band of artists and coders who, according to the startup screen, were calling themselves Tesseract Solutions. More rad misspellings to distinguish themselves as an edgy, forward-thinking upstart. I smirked to myself while reading the all-caps lock message explaining that this game was not intended for anyone over 18 years of age. Are under 18 years of age, despite being created by kids barely that old. I selected the new game and hit return. Text box popped up telling me that I could rescue the Queen's Handmaiden. I had to rescue the Queen's Handmaiden from the dungeon before some ritual called the Bloodening occurred. Oh man, the Bloodening? Really, this is going to be interesting. I hit return again and started the game. The interface looked pretty fresh and was user-friendly, which was nice. The graphics were nothing to write home about, although I have noticed that the mouse cursor was blood-soaked arrow. And appeared to have a few items in my inventory. I clicked the up arrow, which prompted me to do the forward command. I came to a dark figure in a dark cloak, or a figure in a dark cloak. It was nice to have the option to either entering text commands or clicking the mouse. The hooded figure gave me a dagger, which of course was stained with blood. And I continued on. Not having a list of commands didn't seem to affect my gameplay, as almost every command I used seemed to work. I figured they must have loaded in a lot of variables into the command section, which was a nice touch for those of us that haven't played many text adventures. After coming across a wooden chest and obtaining a spell book, I learned the lightning spell, and I started to wonder when I was going to get the digitized photos that Sandman had been working on. Eventually, an enemy appeared. I battled him. The skirmish was uneventful. I took some damage and defeated the foe. When I killed the enemy, the display area went from showing the dungeon ahead to displaying a crudely digitized photo of a red face I assumed was my enemy after his defeat. A strange and somewhat off-putting image. I guess this is going to earn that 18-plus rating, I thought to myself. Hitting any key or clicking anywhere seemed to remove the photo and bring the dungeon back. I explored some more and came across a guy in a wizard coat and cloak and hat. He asked me if I was friend or foe. I typed friend, and he proceeded to call me a liar and engage me in battle. I could tell the game wasn't shooting for any points for our intellectuality. I attacked him a few times and finished him off with a dagger, and I was rewarded again with another picture of a bloodied face. The color palette the designers were using really didn't lend itself to this kind of digital photo display. Through a mess of gray and black and red pixels, I could tell the face shown didn't look anything like the wizard I just battled. This is a matter of content over form. The content was shock value. It's got pictures here. I can't show you any of them. The drawings of like the wizard are like basic bitch drawings of a wizard, like done in MS Paint, whereas the bloody faces look like they might actually be real pictures of faces. There you go. After receiving another spell and a key from the wizard, I continued my search through the corridors of the labyrinth. Honestly, there weren't very many wrong turns or pitfalls. I guess I just wanted to keep a pretty keep the pace pretty packed. I eventually came to a set of iron bars and used the key I got from the wizard on them. What I saw next caught me off guard. A pixelated image of a topless woman tied down with rope popped up in the display area, accompanied by text offering to thank me with either a spell or her body. I'll admit, I was more than a bit curious as to what would happen if I took her up on her offer of her body. I was a college student without a girlfriend, so give me a break. So I typed body in the text field. I was shown another picture of a topless woman, this time not tied up. She was staring right at me, seductively, in as seductively as a 4-color brick block woman could. I admit, it was pretty funny, but hey, maybe it would have been a selling point for the game. Maybe there was a market for pornography resembling glitched out Nintendo games. As for me, I'd rather look at penthouse magazines through a kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope, even. Equip penis. I, of course, can't show you that one either. But, you know, titties. There's titties. They're censored on this picture, but I mean, I don't want to run any lines. But yeah, if you go find this on someordinarygamers.fandom.com/wiki/my buddy Sandman, you can find someone's attempt to recreate this, and you can see some titties if you want. You could just search porn though. It's pretty subpar tits. Especially because they're censored, which kind of defeats the whole point of this thing. But anyway. After you see the handmaiden's naughty bits, you can just type spell and get a new attack anyway. So my journey through the game continued on. As I fought the baddies, I got items and rescued handmaidens. For each fight I won, I was rewarded with another gruesome photo. The spoils of victory. Some of them looked like they were straight out of a horror magazine or a slasher fic. Others were harder to make out, but were slightly more upsetting. I noticed they didn't really seem to fit with the dungeon crawl theme of the game. They were more like a crime scene or emergency room photos. Like I said, it's not easy to see exactly what was happening to him. I guess Sandman did the best he could with the low resolution and minuscule color palette he had. We're talking like old school DOS graphics here. The pictures of the handmaidens were a little odd to me. I'm not a prude or anything. I know that some chicks are into bondage, but the women in the pictures all look kind of frightened or worried. They didn't appear to be relieved to see the Warlock come to save them, despite the constant offers of ludicrously satisfying his physical needs. Whatever. Maybe I'm just not into tied-up girls. Eventually, I saved the third and final handmaiden. And when I finally got around to turned around, I was face to face with a new enemy known as the Blood Demon. What else would you expect? Who else would you expect to hold a ritual called the Bloodening? This is the toughest opponent I had faced yet. All the other others up to this point. Sorry, it's like there's no space there. All the others up to this point were almost criminally easy. I had health potion though, and the items didn't seem to disappear after use. So the only thing that really made this blood demon tougher was that it took longer to kill. I wonder if it was even possible to die in this game. So I handily defeat what turned out to be the final boss of this short game. The game showed me a picture of my slain foe, which looks like some sort of dead raccoon or turtle. I was actually surprised that they got that image rather than just another human victim from a slasher fic. But I was told that I would be receiving a handsome reward. I hit the enter key, and I was compensated for my efforts in the labyrinth by another nude female, who I assumed was the queen, telling me to come hither and collect thy reward. Another tap of the return key brought me to the thanks for playing and list of guys who made the game together. I saw Sandman's name in the special thank category and imagined how stupidly proud he must have been. There was one other two names that I thought I recognized, only as friends of Sandman's, though. Since I beat the game in one night, I was able to talk to Sandman about it the following day in the library. Once again, he asked me, "Did you play it yet?" And this time, I was finally able to give him an answer he wanted. Of course, he wanted to know what I thought about it and how blown away I was by it. And I didn't really have the heart to tell him that the plot of the game was wafer thin, the characters were all non-existent, and the gameplay was inane and repetitive, like Fallout New Vegas, or any of the Fallout games for that matter. I added that bit. The dialogue was ridiculous comparable games were offering sound and sometimes music. The sex and violence would probably kill any mainstream release, or at least or that the graphics were barely up to par with other computer releases, totally eclipsed by the Nintendo and Genesis. So instead, I said it was bitchin' and really fine. Or really fun. I was going to rain on this guy's parade. But hey, maybe the game would get picked up and become popular in some form or another. The fact remains that this group of college kids actually did get together a playable computer game that worked and might garner some attention. And that was more than a lot of young programmers can say. When he asked, I told him that the digitized photos looked good and probably would be a lot better as the computer technology improved. He agreed and continued to talk my ear off about all the work he and others at Tesseract had done, and how this is only the beginning for him. Did dudes still say bitchin'? Did dudes say bitchin' in 92? I was 4? Maybe? I didn't know the word bitch yet, so I was not using the term bitching in 1992. I'll tell you that much. College student, thank you for the 66 months of support. Aw, thank you for being here, man. Stream isn't a stream without people coming by and watching. So thank you for being here and making this a stream. Finally, he had to go to class. I was spared having to hear about the adjusting the resolution on the game photos for a third time. From that point on, his mania seemed to level off. We got back to talking about other things other than Warlock. But after several weeks, it was actually me who brought it up again. I asked what was going on with the video game. He just told me that Aaron and Robert, two of the programmers, were working out minor bugs. Just before the end of the semester, I asked again, and he didn't seem to be able to get in contact with Aaron nor Robert. And the others who worked on the project didn't know either. They said, and wouldn't say what was going on. I told Sandman it was probably just work out in a few days. Personally, I figured things were going to go nowhere with the game, which is honestly what the fuck would happen. Or that there was just too much adult content in it to get picked up. Over the summer break, I was living back with my folks. One day in July, my dad asked me to read an article he saw in the paper about Penn State students that had been arrested or questioned by the police. I read of the article and saw a few names I recognized. I knew them either from the Warlock game credits or through Sandman, who wasn't mentioned in the paper, but was still a minor. Okay. My dad told me that some of the I knew some of the kids' names, but I didn't know any of them personally. Ziv and Medica, thank you for the 27 months of support. Well, thank you. I didn't hear much more about this week. So when the news report came on the local station, it elaborated and gave a few new developments on the PSU student events. Apparently, Jeffrey Maxwell and Daniel Scannell were questioned and released, while Robert Porter, Aaron Alvers, Peter Bouldine were all held on charges that now included murder and conspiracy to commit murder, along with another man, Jerome Watts. Obviously, this got my attention. Porter, Alvers, Bodine allegedly traveled from State College, PA to Philadelphia and the Bucks County area at least 3 times between February and May of 1991 and hired prostitutes. The 3 were accused of taking the prostitutes to an empty house and assaulting them, causing bruises, broken ribs, and in one girl, a concussion. In this abandoned house, the former residence, Jerome Watts, was thought to be the site of at least 2 murders committed by Porter and Alvers. Watts, a 34-year-old sanitation worker, had copped a plea deal in return for further evidence on Porter and Alvers. Bodine was still being held on conspiracy. After gathering physical and circumstantial evidence on Porter, the police obtained a warrant and allegedly found a shotgun which may have been used in the murders, as well as photographic evidence linking himself, Alvers, and Porter to the scenes of the crime. There were several incriminating files on his computer, and some body parts appear to be from small animals hidden in his bedroom walls. The next day, I got a call from Sandman, to whom I can't remember giving my number, but his family is in the phone book. But my family's in the phone book. He sounded nervous, almost frantic. He told me that I had to delete that game from my hard drive or shred and burn the disc that he gave me. I told him I saw the news and asked him what the hell was going on. He sounded shaken, and he said that he had no idea that the photos he had digitized came from. I swear, I thought they were just some thing from Fangora, some titty magazines, he choked out. And some of them were. I swear to God, just some of those dead people were just special effects in movies. I know, I've seen them. I told him to calm down and he had nothing to worry about. He couldn't have known that that was what they were doing, or he was doing. And the police would realize that when he was questioned. He seemed to be settling down a bit, but he said he had more calls to make. I told him that probably wasn't a good idea at this point. And he just said, yeah, and hung up. And that was actually the last time I ever spoke to Sandman. I heard he transferred to Penn Tech and finished school. I can't blame him. PSU main campus is a big place. Pretty sure almost everyone would have been eyeing him, as well as other members of the Tesseract Solutions. I never asked him, nor anyone else, about which of the photos in Warlock were from horror movies and titty magazines, and which ones weren't. I didn't want to know, and I still don't want to know. I deleted the game from my hard drive, but I couldn't remember where the disc was. I actually found it not long ago, and I couldn't resist the temptation to play through it again. You know, because it had actual, smut and slasher shit in it. Actual dead fucking bodies. So I decided, hey, let's fucking play that shit. Incidentally, it never got picked up for major distribution, if you can believe that. But there's still a few copies floating around. I still remember how silly I thought it was back in school. But it didn't seem silly this time. I kind of wish I hadn't replayed it. What the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, I wondered whatever happened to those guys. I know Jeffrey Maxwell and Dan Scotnell got off with extended probation. Aaron Alvers and Pete Bodine both served 6 and 4 years respectively. Bobby Porter is still in penitentiary, I think. I guess in this day and age, it would be easy to track them down and see what they're up to. Kind of seems morbid, though. Do I still think that... I do still think about that quirky... And I'm not going to use that word because I don't... Is this a slur? I'm just going to look it up. A racial classification of people of mixed African and European ancestry, and it's considered to be outdated and offensive. Yep, All right, cool. So anyway, that kid from freshman comp though, how hard it would be to track down someone named Sandman Archibald Bunderford. And that's the story. It was alright. You know? Seemed realistic. I could see this actually happening. Well, I said it once and I'm like, that sounds like a slur. So, there's that. Just, you know. I listened to it and it didn't have that word in the version I listened to. It was alright. Let's read another one. I should mention, I'm going for a bit of a mix here of genres and stuff like that. I would simply not use gore in my porno games. I mean, like, honestly, I'm thinking like heavy metal and yeah, Fangora. I know the Gore magazine I've got, which is the name of the magazine, has like an article on the one I own has an article on sideshow freaks and stuff like that, and it's got like interviews with people who are doing like burlesque. It's a really weird magazine. So that kind of shit just is a thing. Hey y'all. So I found this ritual haphazardly sketched on this is the next story, by the way. Sketched on a napkin at a bar. It looked pretty legit, so I decided to post it here. This ritual is to summon some kind of demon or some shit to chase you around. It's pretty intense and dangerous. Like, if you get caught, he's going to pull you into an alternate dimension of perpetual pain and a lot of suffering. So I'll tell you to not do it, but I mean, come on, bro. Don't be a pussy. Ingredients. 1 principle, 13 mirrors, 1 sharp object, 13 pieces of string, each long enough to be wrapped around the mirror, 3 red candles and something to light them with, something to write on and something to write with, 1 proof of citizenship, passport, social security card, original birth certificate, all accepted, at least 1 form of payment, PayPal not accepted, credit cards preferred. It says principle. I don't know why you need a principle, but that's there. 1. Arrange the mirrors in a circle in the room that you wish to start from. This is the room where Big Daddy will begin chasing you. Wrap the red string around the mirror. This will keep Big Daddy's baby girls, losers from previous games, from exiting the soap-dropping dimension, the body swapping with you. You'll be stuck in that dimension, and I don't know, they'll, like, sleep with your girlfriend or ruin your credit score or something. Step 2. Position the candles in a triangle in the middle of the circle. Carve the number 6 into each candle using the sharp object and light them. Write down every name you've ever had in full. Main name, nickname, names translated into other languages from before you moved into your current country, etc. Also, write down the full names of all your loved ones, your hopes and dreams, and any personal information, really. Place this along with your proof of citizenship and the method of payment in the middle of the triangle created by the candles. Big Daddy's a pimp. He ain't doing that shit for free. Step 4. Open all the doors and windows. Take your sharp object at each opening and cut your hand so to leave a few drops of blood. Each time you do this, yell out, spank me, Daddy. I've been naughty 3 times into the darkness. Step 5. Go back to the circle and at 1 a.m. exactly, yell out, I'm a naughty girl, and start booking it. If you lose if Big Daddy touches your butt before 6 a.m. If you make it to 6 without getting your butt touched by Big Daddy, congratulations. You win bragging rights. I would list some do's and don'ts, but it's really long. But really, as long as you don't get your butt touched, you should be good. It's obviously a parody on all the... There's a lot of ritual creepypasta. If you haven't read them before, then maybe this one's a joke. This one's definitely a joke one. But there's a lot of ritual creepypasta that have this vibe where it's like you got to do all this bullshit and you'll probably die or get sent to a hell dimension. But if you do it, you get to brag. Or you get one wish answered, but he might lie. And it's like, what the fuck? Why would I do this? How hard is this? It's so difficult to pull off. How did anyone find out this is a thing? You know? Anyway. I love that. That was great. Is this one short? Yeah, this one's pretty short. All right. I haven't read this one, so we'll give it a go. It's called The Backrooms. It's from X. Dude, X used to be so good. It was approximately 12:15 when I entered Johnson County Community Health Clinic. I was there for an appointment I had set up about a week ago. Just a checkup routine. Or just a routine checkup. It wasn't a new place for me. I had been there a couple times. However, the place had an odd nostalgic feeling to it, as if it were a location from my childhood or something. I could never exactly pinpoint what that feeling was or where it came from. As I walked in, an overwhelming feeling of deja vu swept over me. The hum of flickering fluorescent lights, the wall tile flooring, the muted beige paint that colored the walls. I noticed there was a TV mounted in the corner, a small flat screen that was playing a short PowerPoint slideshow on loop of ads and events that were being held in the clinic. I passed the empty waiting area and a small area of the main room with magazines, children's playthings, and blue cushioned chairs, and approached the woman at the front desk. She was sitting in the blue-grayish office chair, looking at a spreadsheet on the same Windows XP desktop that they had since 2008. That bit gets funnier the longer this goes on. There's a sign-in sheet on the counter in front of me. I have an appointment with Dr. Pimbis. What time? P-E-B-I-N. Pimbins? What the fuck? I asked. What time? 12:30, I replied. She began typing something into her keyboard. Ah, yes, she responded. Gary Johnston? Uh-huh. Yes, I'll go tell the doctor. Please fill this out. She handed me the clipboard, which had a small fill-out form. I walked back into the waiting area, took a seat, and began filling out the form. I was about halfway done with filling out the information when I slumped back into my chair. I hadn't gotten much sleep in the prior night, and I was exhausted. As I slumped back, I noticed something very peculiar. My head never hit the wall. In fact, it felt like it went in. I got up, quite frightened, and looked at the wall. Nothing. Not a single hole or dent had been made in the wall. And my fingers went... So I touched the wall, and my fingers went right through it. I recoiled in shock. What the hell is that? I thought, as I reached to touch the wall again, only to find my fingers clipped through it once again. And then it started making that Gmod thing where two things interact. No, it doesn't say that. Then suddenly I lost my balance and tripped and fell directly into the wall. I fell face first in some dirty tan carpeting. Upon getting back up, I realized that it was in a completely different room. Well, not really a room per se, more so a set of rooms, all of which connected by openings. The walls were covered in gross tan paper patterned wallpaper. There's also an overwhelming stench of moist carpet. I turned back and tried to put my hand through the wall and wouldn't go through. Okay, what the fuck? I muttered. I looked back at the room. There were no windows, no doors, nothing on the walls other than disgusting wallpaper, of course. It was completely empty aside from the singular plastic blue school chair. At this point, the only thing that was going through my mind was fear and the repeating thought of, I need to leave, on loop in my head. I started running through the rooms, desperately trying to find an exit. But to no avail. There was no exit. Was this permanent location until I died? Was this my permanent location until I died? What? Yeah, okay. No, there had to be a way out. There had to be... I wasn't just going to be left here, right? Eventually someone would notice I was gone, and... But nobody did. And then in the distance, I heard footsteps. Not those of a human, unless not a normal human. Alongside the footsteps was a gurgling snarl, like that of an angry animal. I began to run. I ran as fast as I could from whatever the hell was approaching me. It was Big Daddy. No, I didn't want anything to do with it. I ran for what seemed like forever, and I always came back to the room I started in. At least it looked like the same room. Not that I could tell it apart. So I sat down, defeated, feeling a feeling of dread fill my body, and I started to cry. I was going to die here. I'm still there. I haven't left. I accepted my face. In fact, I actually hear footsteps. I wonder who that is. What? What? So he, like, turns into the big thing? I guess? How the fuck did he post this? What? Okay. Oh, this one's short. Oh, is this just a video? Oh, okay. Fine. This is a description of the video I'm about to show you. I get... Well, hold up. Let me do a quick watch of it. Are we gonna have, like, porn or something? Okay, this one I don't know about, man. Alright. Let's do SCP-3008. Item SCP-3008. Object class Euclid. Don't know how to pronounce that word to this day. Special containment procedures. Retail park containing SCP-3008 has been purchased by the Foundation, converted into site blank. All public roads leading to or passing by site redacted have been redirected. The entrance to SCP-3008 is to be monitored at all times, and no one's to enter SCP-3008 outside of testing, as permitted by a senior researcher. Humans exiting SCP-3008 are to be detained and then debriefed to the administration prior to the administration of amnesiacs. Depending on their duration and the stay in SCP-3008, a cover story may need to be generated prior to their release. Any and all other entities exiting SCP-3008 are to be terminated. SCP-3008 is a large retail unit previously owned and branded as IKEA, a popular furniture retail chain. A person entering SCP-3008 through the main entrance and then passing out a line at the side of the door will find themselves translocated to SCP-3008-1. This displacement will typically go unnoticed, as no change will occur from the perspective of the victim. They are generally not aware until they try and return to the entrance. SCP-3008-1 is a space resembling the inside of an IKEA furniture store, extending as far beyond the limits of what the physically could be contained within the dimensions of a retail unit. Current measurements indicate an area of at least 10 kilometers square with no visible external terminators detected in any direction. Inconclusive results from the use of large laser rangefinders has led to the speculation that the space may be infinite. SCP-3008-1 is inhabited by an unknown number of civilians trapped within prior to containment. Gathering data suggests that they have formed rudimentary civilization within SCP-3008-1, including the construction of settlements, fortifications for the purpose of defending against SCP-3008-2. Just get lost in an IKEA for a while. Make a new fucking culture. SCP-3008-2 are humanoid entities that exist within SCP-3008-1. While superficially resembling humans, they possess extraneous and inconsistent bodily proportions, often described as being too short or too tall. They possess no facial features and are observed wearing a yellow shirt and blue trousers consistent with the IKEA employee uniform. Wonderful. SCP-3008-1 has a rudimentary day-night cycle, determined by overhead lighting within the space, activated and deactivated at times consistent with the opening and closing times of the original retail store. During the night, instances of SCP-3008-2 will become violent towards all other life forms within SCP-3008-1. During these bouts of violence, they have been heard to vocalize phrases in English that are typically variations of "the store is now closed, please exit the building." Once day begins, SCP-3008-2 immediately become passive and begin moving throughout SCP-3008-1, seemingly at random. They are unresponsive to questioning and other verbal cues, though react violently if attacked. Can we request creepypastas for future streams? Sure. I mean, like, as long as it's not from r/no sleep or the author hasn't explicitly said, I don't want you to, read this stuff on a thing. Yeah. Specifically, old ones are really good for this because generally they're anonymously written, and so there's no way to trace who originally wrote them, and I can't. But yeah, why not no sleep? Because they specifically have a rule where I have to ask the person who makes the thing there if it's if I can, and the amount of time that it takes and whether or not they actually will get back to me. Of the people I've messaged, none of them got back to me, so probably not gonna work. I'm more than willing to do them, but it probably won't work out where I'll actually read them. But you can always send me creepypasta. Our No Sleep has some really good shit. Honestly, some of the best stuff out there right now is on there. SCP-1733. Give me a second. Let's read it next. If we haven't already. Okay. DVR player. Why would even... I mean, you just want to share your creepypasta. You don't want, like, people reading it. You know? Anyway. After I finish this one, hit me up with SCPs that you want me to read. Or other creepypastas, and I'll do it. 10... I'll get this last one, then I'm going to keep reading because I don't really want to get stopped on this. Thank you for the 10 bits there. Any tips on Rev Creepypasta? Like reading like creepypasta or like good creepypastas? I'm trying to read you the good ones. The no sleep ones are good. Hit me up with the numbers after this one because I've already got 2 in queue and I need to finish this one. SCP, let's see. SCP-3008-1 is known to have one or more exits located within, though these exits do not appear to have a fixed position, making it difficult to leave SCP-3008-1 once inside. Using any other door besides the main entrance to enter the structure or breaking the walls of the retail unit leads to a anomalous interior of the original store. Since containment began, 14 individuals have managed to exit SCP-3008. Following extensive debriefing, all individuals have been administered amnesiacs and released. Incident 3008-1 at 37, I guess this is at 12:37 a.m. in the morning, like at night, on redacted 2000 and redacted, a human male, and notably that's before 2010. A male human exited 3008, followed 10 seconds later by an instances of 3008-2. 3008-2 caught and killed the man before itself being terminated by armed personnel response. The incident represents the only time an instance of SCP-3008-2 has been seen existing or exiting 3008. A full autopsy of the corpse was performed. See SCP or see 3008-2 autopsy log for more details. The man was carrying an IKEA branded journal seeming to document his time in SCP-3008-1, transcribed below verbatim. Transcription from, oh, there you go. So here it is. So I'm writing this document, and I'm not doing a great job at reading over chat right now while I'm doing this. So like I said, give me the recommendations for them after. 55 is good? Okay. Please remind me, because I'm going to totally forget that you said that. Also, pages are not loading right now. That's weird. I'm writing this document that... I'm writing this to document what can I only assume is my sudden descent into insanity. It can't possibly be a bad navigator. I can't be possibly that bad of a navigator. And yet, as I write this, I've been trapped in IKEA for 2 days. I haven't seen another person the entire time I've been here. I thought it was a prank at first. Turn the place into a maze. Get all the people out and see how long it takes for me to get lost. Then everyone has a good laugh, realize that this wasn't the case when I tried to backtrack. Everything had changed, so I ended up lost. Instead of an exit, it was just row after row of bookcases. So I'm trapped in IKEA. Sounds like a setup for a bad joke. Lights went out at 10 p.m. and nearly gave me a fucking heart attack. The loud electrical thunk and then pitch blackness. The place is full of beds, though, and my phone has a torch on it. But no damn signal. So I found a bed and went to sleep. Spent most of my day trying to find a way out with no luck. Did find a restaurant serving those meatballs, though, so at least I won't starve. That's probably the punchline to the joke. Anyway, they're still made warm and fresh. I haven't seen anyone around who could have cooked them. Made my way back to the beds before lights cut out again since it was too dark to search with them off. How did you do that? It's 10 a.m. now, or 9:10 a.m. now. The lights came on back a little while ago. I'm sure I've searched the entire area where I came in now, and the exit obviously isn't here. So I'm going to pick a direction and hope for the best. Day 3 of my magical IKEA mystery adventure. If I wasn't sure that there was something seriously weird about this place before, I am now. Walked 3 hours in more or less straight line. Insert IKEA joke here. Before I came across a ladder next to one of those huge stock shelves they have here, climbed up to get my bearings, and it looks like this place just stretches on forever, like a scene from The Lion King, except for instead of trees and grass, it was all shelves and tables and crap. I did see a person moving not too far away, so I headed over. I thought it was a staff member at first. He was wearing a uniform, and hell, maybe it was. Maybe freakish 7-foot tall monster with long arms, short legs, and no face are just the kind of things that they want working at Super IKEA. The damn thing completely ignored me, though. No eyes, no ears. I can't even be sure I knew I was there. And thought about shoving it or something to get his attention, but his hands were big enough to crush a watermelon, so I decided against it. I kept moving along and eventually lost sight of it, so I decided to carry on the way I was going. Anyway, no comfy bed for me tonight. Looks like I've entered the improbably hard and pointy table section of the store. Guess I have to make do with some bunched up tablecloths. Phone battery died during the day. Didn't work anyway. Felt like I just saw some vital lifeline. You ever see one of those cartoons where they're going through doors in a hallway and they just pop out another one in the same hallway? That's how I feel right now. I've seen nothing but the same identical bookshelf for 2 days now. Just row and row of them. I mean, come on. I love books as much as the next guy, but this is excessive. I'm obviously still moving forward, though. I can see signs hanging overhead passing by. Too bad none of them say exit. Not sure who I was addressing that question to. Let's just say that it was practice for my autobiography when I get out of here. I'll call it my perfectly normal trip to regular old IKEA. If I ever get out, is crossed out. Finally found some other people. Turns out, yeah, I'm not the only poor bastard trapped in here. Lucky for me, I guess. My sixth night here. 2 of the staff things came at me in the dark. Different from the ones that I first saw, but still messed up. Heard them coming. They were saying that the store was closed and I had to leave the building. All nice and polite, like. I'm not sure which part was weirder. That they didn't have mouths or that they were trying to kill me while they were saying it. Came at me like rabid dogs, so I legged it. Sprinting through IKEA in the dark like a fucking madman. I saw it when I cleared another stand of those giant stock shelves, all lit up with torches and floodlights. They'd built a whole town here. Got a massive wall built out of shelves and beds and tables and whatever else. I swear to God, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Anyway, I guess they saw me coming, or maybe they heard my slashed out, girlish, manly bellows of fear. Because they had a gate open and 2 people were waving me in. Heard the staff things slam into the gate behind me after it closed. Still politely informing them all that the store was closed. They wandered off eventually, though. They call the town Exchange, because that's what the sign hanging on the ceiling above it directly says. Exchanges and returns, all lit up against the night using the lights they found and plugged into the power lines. And there are still some beds and foods and people. Over 50 wonderful people with regular-sized limbs and full sets of facial features. It's now my 7th night here, and it's the first one not to spend in darkness. A full week living in IKEA. That's probably a TV show in that somewhere. Now that I'm around other people, I'm starting to feel normal. Maybe normal isn't the right word, but after a week with only the sound of my own footsteps for company, I was becoming increasingly aware that I was just gone nuts. That I was tied up in some increasingly sure that I had just gone nuts. That I was tied up in some padded room somewhere, banging my head against the wall. But no, I feel quite sane now. Thank you very much. Apparently, there are other towns out there. Some with more people, some with less. I found that fairly mind-boggling. How can that many people go missing and no one notice? Surely someone would have noticed that everyone who goes into the IKEA seems to fucking vanish. Or maybe not everyone. Maybe we're just the lucky ones. People who here call the staff monster things the staff. Apparently, they're fine during the day minding their own business, walking the aisles. As soon as the lights go out, though, they go fucking bonkers. So during the day, people go out and find food and water or whatever else they need. Apparently, the restaurants and shops around get randomly restocked. Nobody knows why. Maybe the staff do it. Maybe they just aren't very good at their jobs because they keep restocking things takes a while, which means the food needs to be rationed. Maybe if they weren't so busy chasing people around in the dark, they'd get more done. When it comes night, the staff go nuts and everyone holds up inside the walls. Apparently, it's the same all over the place. Whatever this place is, the IKEA, where all IKEA is spraying, or maybe this is just where all the regular IKEA. This is just the regular IKEA, and it's some fever dream brought on by mind-numbing boredom. Who knows? Been here for 10 days now. Most of the people I asked said they stopped keeping track of time long ago. And one guy, Chris says he's been in here for years. Years, illegible scribbles. Apparently, there are rumors of people who manage to get out and people who see the exit only to have it vanish before their very eyes. I get a feeling that not everyone believes that, but I do. It explains how we got stuck here in the first place, sort of. And I mean, come on. Staff monsters, rows after rows of endlessly high quality is pretty... I don't know if high quality is the right word to describe Swedish, the IKEA stuff. But anyway, row after row of endless high quality Swedish furniture. I don't know why they would find a spearing door so hard to believe in. Anyway, I went to go out scavenging for food near a shop, at the shop near Sandra and Jerry today. Once you learn the landmarks of this place, it's not so hard to navigate. The overhead signs help a lot, but the others, not too far off in the distance of a huge section of those giant shelves, has collapsed again against each other. And way off to the east, we all assume it's east anyway. Apparently IKEA doesn't sell compasses. It's another kind of tower. Kind of looks like it's made out of wood. Reaches all the way up to the ceiling. Maybe they were trying to break through the roof. Lights up the night, so there must be people there. And apparently, it's just a few days' walk, which must mean that it's miles away. So no one here really knows for sure. I apparently got really lucky sleeping out in the open for a week without getting ripped to bits by the staff. That's me. Lucky, lucky, lucky. We found some food in the shop. Guess the staff restocked it during the night, which was nice of them. There was a telephone on the wall, so I figured I'd try it out. There's a voice on the other end, but they were just talking nonsense. Random strings of words that had no real meaning. You ever see that video of someone with aphasia? Kind of sounded like that. Didn't answer me when I spoke to him anyway. Sandra says the phones in here are all the same. Oops, asking the journal questions again. What question? You ever see a video? Okay, that. I was thinking last night, the ceiling on this place is pretty high, and as far as I could tell, it goes on forever. Shouldn't there be some sort of, like, weather here? I'm sure I read about some massive building that was built so big that it had its own weather patterns with clouds and stuff. This place is definitely bigger than that. And now that I think of it, I'm pretty sure I've never felt so much temperature change in here. I've never felt much temperature change in here. I'll add it to the grand list of weird bullshit. The staff attacks the exchange last night. Must have been like 20 or 30 of them, all asking us to leave the store calm as you like while trying to smash down the door or smash it down with their bare hands. Apparently this happens pretty regularly, so everyone was prepared for it. Knives from the restaurant, lawnmower blades made into hatchets, a fire axe. One guy, Wazim, even made a functional crossbow. Anyway, the walls have holes in them. I hadn't noticed before. Specifically so we can stab at the staff when they attack. Took a couple down myself. They don't seem to bleed, which is weird, but they go down as easy as a regular person once you start sticking holes in them. We had to haul the bodies away in the morning. Apparently the dead ones attract more during the night, so we just had to get them away from the exchange. We took a couple of those trolley things they use to move big boxes around, so we had a couple of those trolley things that they used to move big boxes around. So we loaded them up and took them over to pickup. Apparently people just name everything in here whatever the sign hanging overhead is. Pickup was grisly. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of dead staff all piled up. There was no smell, which is a blessing. Apparently, in addition to not bleeding, these things don't rot either. My curiosity got the better of me when we were unloading them, so I took a look at one of the more cut-up ones. They're just skin, or something that looks like skin, all the way through. No muscle, no bones, no organs. Really alive in the first place? They seem like they must have had bones when they were moving around, pouncing on the walls. I'm sure I felt more resistance than just skin when the knife went in during that night. Maybe something happens to them when they die. Just one more thing on the ever-increasing list of weird shit that goes on here, I guess. Something occurred to me. After the staff attacked the other night, every time you see a situation like this on TV or in a film, like at the end of the world and everyone's trapped in an island or whatever, once the groups start to form, people always turn in on each other, fighting for food or dominance or whatever else. That hasn't happened here. Apparently, people from the other towns come from time to time just to check in or occasionally to trade if they're short of something, but everything's always cordial, friendly even. Maybe it's the threat of the staff, or perhaps the constant restocking of supplies in the shops means that there's nothing much to fight over. Maybe people are better than they're generally given credit for. That's a nice thought. I think I'll go with that one. A dozen people showed up at the gates this afternoon from a town called Trolleys. Apparently, staff broke through the walls and tore the town apart during the night. These 12 are the only survivors out of 100. We let them in, obviously. One more point of human decency. One more point on the human decency column. Later, I asked if anyone knew how many of these towns were out there. Between us and the new folks, we managed to come up with 20 names, 20 towns filled with people. And who knows how many beyond that. The motto of this place should be, how is that even possible? Surely somewhere someone must be looking for thousands of people who must be out there. I've been trapped in here for a little over 2 months. Are there food stands in IKEAs? Yeah, weirdly, yes. They have like kitchens. We go and get stuff from IKEA every now and then. Less so since the bad times started. But in the before times, we used to go to IKEA just get like a bookshelf or whatever. And they've got like a kitchen. They've got meatballs, famously. What are they called? Sweet rolls? Good. Pretty good sweet roll. Honestly, not fucking bad. Yeah, you could potentially, in a survival situation, live off the food in an IKEA. Especially if the food somehow is infinite. I would define IKEA furniture as something closer to, it's sort of a, it's like good college kid furniture. It's cheap. It lasts for a couple years, but it's kind of just like whatever. Like, you're not gonna like win any fashion contests with your shit IKEA furniture. But the fact is that you could get like a, I don't know, desk or maybe a bookshelf. Like, bookshelves don't wear down that fast. You could get a bookshelf from IKEA and it'd be fine. But, like, you know, because, like, you really can't make a bookshelf more interesting than just, it's a box. So, I mean, like, there's an infinite supply of water, I guess. Cokes. It's like, honestly, there's enough food in IKEA that you could probably, especially if it's restocked, you'd have variety. Where are you gonna shit? I don't know. Fucking toilet section? Anyway. I don't think anyone is, like, excited to have IKEA furniture. I think you buy IKEA furniture because you need a fucking bookshelf. Or you need a coffee table. Or whatever. You don't really, like, you're not like, oh, shit, I'm so glad I've got a fucking coffee table from IKEA now. I think all of our furniture is IKEA. Excluding, like, the papasan here in the corner. Which we got, like, it was ditched on the side of the road. And we were like, we're taking that shit. And then, we got this cabinet that I've got over here from fucking someplace or another. Yeah, I mean, maybe they do have, like, bathrooms. That'd be nice. Is the Blahaj the bear or the shark? Just build a wooden toilet. It's just a cube. It's a blue and yellow cube is what it looks like. The bear is the Dushlikskog. Okay. I mean, honestly, the staff is a fucking mood. I would beat and or rip apart customers if I had a chance. So, like, I don't blame them. Like, lights out, time to get out. I'm gonna fucking kill you. Please leave. I feel that shit. So I'm, like, not against the staff members in this. Like, yeah. Yeah. If I could get away with that, if I was a faceless 7-foot-tall monster. Anyway, where was I? It's been a little over 2 months now. Not much has changed. As it turns out, a couple of new people showed up. Same story as the rest of us. Nice little trip to IKEA. Suddenly trapped in Billy Bookcase's house of faceless weirdos. The staff attack in the exchange. Staff attack the exchange once or twice a week. We all kill them and haul their bodies off. Sometimes they hurt some of us first. They killed a guy called Jared a couple weeks back. It was awful, frankly. Turns out that regular humans still bleed here, even if the staff don't. We tried our best, but none of us are doctors. Jared was a good guy. He deserved better. We all do. It occurred to me after a couple of days that none of us were really looking for a way out of here. I don't even know where we'd start. One of those quadcopter things with the camera attached buzzed past the exchange day. I thought it meant that someone was finally looking for us, that help was on the way. Apparently, this is not the first time it happened. Same thing happened a few months ago, and everyone's still here. No idea if it saw us, but if it did, it didn't stop. It just kept flying until we couldn't see it anymore. Note, based on the recovery time, the journal of this entry appears to line up approximately with our first successful test piloting drone inside of SCP-3008-1. Analysis of the footage shows a walled settlement under a sign labeled Exchange and Returns. Attempts to relocate the settlement has failed. Origin of previously sighted drones is unknown. I started talking to people about the stuff they missed from home during dinner today. Probably not the best idea I've ever had. Everyone seems to be pretty down after. A bunch of people here have families. Husbands, wives, kids, dogs. Franklin has apparently a pet llama. Not sure I buy that. Apparently some of them have been here since here have some seriously odd gaps in their knowledge. 3 of them have never heard of the International Space Station. 2 of them seem to think Redacted was a prime minister, and 1 of them appeared to have never heard of the Statue of Liberty. I believed them, too. It just seemed as confused as the rest of us. The more I thought, how did that come up? You ever hear of the Statue of Liberty? What the fuck are you talking about? What? Same with the International Space Station. Like, what? The more I look at it, the more I thought about it, the more it starts to explain a few things. The reason no one's looking for us is maybe because we all came from the same place. It's going to sound weird, and maybe that's the motto for this place, but what if all the people who came here have other dimensions, realities, whatever you call it? I've seen TV shows, you know the drill. Sarah comes from a place with no Statue of Liberty. They didn't even launch the space station where Wasm's from. Everyone here came from different places, even ones from seemingly identical, even from ones that seem identical. There'd be no huge missing persons panic, no mass search. We'd all be just a blip, a single person in a world of non-stop news. That was a fun train of thought. Just realized that yesterday was the 6-month anniversary of my arrival here. I wonder if IKEA sells party hats. The routine around here has remained more or less the same. More new folks showed up, 1 every couple of weeks or so. Food supplies go up and down, but we've never actually had a major shortage. Occasionally, we get a visitor from one of the nearby towns, usually check out our aisle 630. We check in with each other from time to time, occasional trade supplies if someone gets particularly low on something. It's comforting, in a way. A reminder that we aren't alone in here. A small glimmer of civilization. Sometimes they bring medical supplies. Apparently, there's a pharmacy a few towns down from checkout that gets restocked from every now and then. So they share. There's not a pharmacy in IKEA. What the fuck? Oh, well, here you go. I've never heard of an IKEA with a pharmacy before, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if someone stumbled upon an IKEA organ harvesting lab. Would certainly explain some stuff. Speaking of our faceless jailers, their attacks are getting worse. 3 or 4 times a week now, with twice as many staff as there used to be. No idea where they all come from or why the attacks have increased. We tried following them one of them during the day a few weeks ago, me and Sarah, wanted to see if they lead back to the staff room or something. Didn't seem to go anywhere, though. Just randomly walked through aisles. We had to turn back before we found anything. We've been reinforcing the walls, trying to arm ourselves better. Certainly no lack of materials to use. Wasm has been making crossbows, but it's pretty slow going. Too bad IKEA doesn't sell guns. Note, no new personnel have entered SCP-3008 at site redacted in the time span indicated in the entry. It's just anarcho-primitivism, but IKEA. I love it. Anarcho-Ikeism. The attacks are getting bad now, almost every night, with so many staff that the bodies are piled high enough for others to climb on the walls. We're starting to get in trouble here. The exchange is, well, I think the exchange is done. We got hit pretty bad last night. Not many casualties, but the wall is wrecked. We finally figured out why the attacks have been escalating. 2. A box of supplies had a chunk from one of the staff in there. No idea how that happened. Apparently, a piece of one has drawn. One will draw them as well as a full body. Too late now, in any case. There's just too many bodies for us to haul away and still have time to fix the wall before night. Candace called a meeting. I suspect that there's going to be talk of abandoning exchange. Maybe try and get shelter at checkouts or something. It's already getting late, though. I don't think we'll have time to make it. Maybe some of us will. It's fine for that first week out in the. I was fine for that first week out in the dark, after all. But then, how often can I get lucky? I'm only writing this as a sense of closure, I guess, for me or for anyone who finds this. This is my final entry here. I hope whoever is reading this is doing so from outside this place. My biggest fear? If I do die tonight, I'll just wake up here in the morning. No, this is the last entry. It is assumed that while attempting to reach the checkouts settlement, he separated from the rest of his group while pursuing, he was separated by the rest of his group by pursuing SCP 3008-2 instance and happened upon the exit. Honestly, that was pretty good. And yeah, if I was a dude, if I could get away with straight up fucking murder, I would go back to, working at a regular store. You know? I would probably work a day job. Because the main thing is that you're not allowed to do anything about it. You know? Anyone who's worked retail, your job would be better if you were legally allowed to murder people, right? Right? People would be a lot fucking nicer. But you can't murder people. It's illegal. A silly concept, but honestly very well written. PvP enabled retail. Dude, I was reading something about Star Citizen recently. Apparently, so there's a no PvP zone in the main trade hubs, but you're still allowed to heal people in those zones. There's also permanent item loss. If you die, you lose all your stuff. It's just in a bag on the floor, standard to normal games. And so you're allowed to heal people, but you're not allowed to hurt them. But if you overheal someone, you overdose them and it can kill them. So what people are doing is if you see someone wearing a fancy outfit, people all rush one person that's got fancy outfits and just start injecting them with healing shit until they die and then loot the bodies. So Star Citizen's going great. SCP-1733, as recommended by someone in chat a minute ago. I forgot who linked it. I love video games, man. Most successful crowdsourcing project of all time. Yeah, unfortunately, it was bad. I have it. Someone got me early copy of it. I've got a ship and everything, but I haven't bothered to play it because there's just no fucking game when I played it last. That was right when it first came out, and they were talking it up something fierce. I know. I think Internet's Frank is super into it, but I can't fucking. I can't give a shit, man. I don't fucking care. Item SCP-1733. Object class safe. Special containment procedures. The DVR containing SCP-1733 is to be kept in a secure video archive redacted. Playback of SCP-1733 is strictly forbidden unless required for research. Personnel must contact Dr. Geller for permission to study 1733. I think I read some of those, Orthogonal, didn't I? Description. SCP-1733 is a digital recording of the 2010-2011 NBA season opening game played at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts on 10/26/2010 between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. Agents monitoring social network sites were alerted of SCP-1733 when Boston native Redacted complained in a Facebook thread on 10/27 about a technical foul in the third quarter involving the players Ray Allen and Charles Bosch. It's a different thing. It is spoopy time. Welcome home, sweetheart. We're reading Creepypasta. We just read one about an infinite IKEA that you get stuck in. It's pretty good. Let's see. In third quarter involving players Ray Allen and Chris Bosch, and never occurred during the original broadcast. When confronted, Redacted uploaded irrelevant segments, much to the confusion of his degregators. Foundation and agents embedded in the Facebook's moderation team deleted the thread and procured the IP address of all individuals present in the chat at the time to locate and administer Class A amnesiacs. The Motorola Bland's DVR containing SCP-1733 was recovered for study. Study of the footage has since revealed the nature of the recording's anomalous properties. Although initially diverging from the original broadcast negligibly, such as a quarter-point totals and occurrences of fouls, SCP-1733 has begun to markedly digress from content of earlier playbacks. Recorded entities have observed to retain memories of previous playings, and as such have developed a burgeoning awareness of their existence, an hypothesis that playbacks impart an unquantifiable measure of cognizance to the entities inhabiting SCP-1733, with consecutive playings quality greatly expanding the recall of previous events. The effect is cumulative and extends to all persons in the area. Quality of awareness has progressed from reported feelings of intense deja vu by the commentary personalities Mike and Tommy to a near eidetic memory of preceding playbacks. However, to note, no entities inside of SCP-1733 have ever addressed the viewer directly, nor shown awareness that they reside in a digital recording. This is awesome! I love this one. This is really good. SCP runs Facebook. Have you heard that they're calling it, what is it, the multiverse? They're changing the name of Facebook to the multiverse, which is apparently a reference. Apparently, is it multiverse is the name they're going with? I think. Is it a reference to some book where it's like about a social media network prior to there being them? And it's like an alternate life thing that people would hop on their computers to interact with. It ends up being like really bad. I don't remember the name of the book, but it's like, maybe that's not the best thing to name it after? Metaverse. Yes. There it is. Anyway. Individuals in the recording are virtually indistinguishable from the real-life counterparts in talent, behavior, and mannerisms of the court. Fans in the crowd also appear to be real human beings in all respects. The Foundation inquires into the current status of the persons and has found nothing of note. For all intents and purposes, recorded entities appear to be actual individuals, but somehow abiding in the digital medium. TD Garden's records have put the number of people in attendance on 10/26/2010 at redacted. It was initially thought that the purpose of SCP-1733 was to depict an infinite number of game outcomes, since the players were able to modify offensive and defensive strategies during every playback. By playback 34, players and coaches became so keenly adapted to the opposing team's playbook that the score remained 0-0 until 33 minutes 34 in the first quarter. As quality of recall was still weak in the early stage iterations, memory of preceding playbacks likely manifested as vague intuition felt by players, fans, and team personnel alike, interfering with their ability to grasp the full scope of their situation. By playback 045, although comprehension of their predicament has reached such a point that players decline to play altogether and have assembled with the rest of those in attendance to formulate possible escape plans. It is in the conclusion of the Foundation researchers that the inhabitants of SCP-1733 are imprisoned in the setting of the recording, and as of yet have been unable to exit by any means. Doors leading out of the arena have not yielded to an estimated force in excess of redacted newtons, I would assume. The assembly has also been unable to exit the locker rooms, player facilities, skyboxes, waiting for patrons to arrive in scripted points prior to the start of the first quarter has also been unsuccessful. Individuals leave by the main arena. Individuals leave by where patrons entered and are unable to navigate and escape from the adjacent corridors that girdle the main area. Escape attempts have since grown more and more desperate, and including failing attempts and constructing makeshift explosives, all-out rioting, and fracturing the assembly into 3 opposing factions. And by playback redacted, the ritualistic murder and disembowelment of players in hopes of appeasing whatever it is that confines them. See timeline document 001 for details. However, upon beginning a new playback, all persons have returned to their pre-game status unharmed. Researchers have been unable to duplicate the effects of SCP-1733, and all other recordings made by the DVR, confirming the device is not the source of the SCP's apparent or aberrant properties. Due to the distress visited upon inhabitants of SCP-1733, testing has been suspended indefinitely. And then there's a partial timeline document. Playback 2. First recorded deviation from the regular recorded broadcast. DD Garden boos at Miami Heat's entrance. Miami Heat forward LeBron James averts to have scowled and shaken his head dismissively at the crowd. Playback 15. Score remains 0-0 for 8 consecutive possessions. Fans appeared noticeably subdued when displayed on the faculty's HD scoreboard screen. Celtics power forward Glenn Davis is able to execute a crucial block late in the fourth quarter on LeBron James. He could not complete during the original broadcast, securing the Celtics lead. Commentators note that Glenn Davis' dedication to performing well on both sides of the court, in spite of being the Big Three's blistering ball movement on offensive plays. Nascent awareness of previous played games has begun to form. Playback 26. First Miami Heat victory. God damn, Miami Heat. Even when you've got the fucking, like, I don't know anything about sports, but you had 26 attempts at this and you didn't, what? You should try the AI story generator AI and make your own spooky stories. It's gonna be shit. Crowd becomes aggressive, shouting obscenities and hurling foodstuffs at the Celtics. Color commentator Tim Hindishorn understood the frustration, criticizing the Celtics coaching staff for becoming so complacent after having cracked the code of the Miami Heat defense. As this was the first game together for the Miami Big Three, it is unlikely that any coaching personnel would have become so adjusted to the unfamiliar offense in a single game. Playback 27. Commenters Mike and Tommy note a feeling of deja vu during the Heat's grandiose entrance. Crowd remains subdued during the key Celtic, I keep pronouncing Celtic, because it can be pronounced that way, but I don't think that's the way they pronounce it. Celtics emerged the victors, prompting Tom Hardison's remark, "The Celtics have come a long way, winning back the hearts of their fans." When asked to elaborate, Mike Gorman and Henderson could only Henderson could only respond that he felt that the team had an embarrassment to atone for, but could not specify further. Playback 44, the teams emerged disoriented and confused. Game is suspended. A majority of time is spent by medical professionals assessing the mental state of players, who remain convinced that they had dreamt playing the season opener frequently the previous night. When informed of the situation by team staff, commentators Mike and Tommy affirmed the same feeling. Crowd is also afflicted. Recording ends with courtside correspondents interviewing members of the crowd on the nature of their dreams. Playback 45. Players refuse to play. Cameraman, faculty, personnel, players, commentators, and crowd all gather in the court to appraise the situation. All persons are convinced that they are reliving the same game repeatedly. Doors are tested but cannot be budged. Recording closes as the crowd begins to make makeshift weapons to try and pry the door open. Last instance of the camera being manipulated by the camera crew. Following playbacks are seen through a single static shot of the broadcast view camera. Playback 51. No attempts to exit the building have succeeded. All exits in the arena and adjacent area remain sealed. A physical altercation on balcony section 318 between an inebriated group of college-aged males and one older male leaves one older male concussed on the floor unconscious. As broadcast camera is unable to pick up audio voices on the opposite side of the arena, presumably to dispute the dispute occurred over a group of males not assisting in escape plans. First recorded violent incident. This is more or less, Creepypasta talking shit about the Miami Heat. Like, they had so much time to get this shit together. Playback 52, a man knocked unconscious in previous playback is returned to a previous state unharmed upon being the beginning of the current recording. Man ambushed and bludgeons one of his attackers to death at the 34:12 mark. Playback 55. Cognition has progressed to such a point that the crowd is now able to remember the events of that week, as well as the friends and families on the outside of the facility. Attempts to contact the outside for help are met with failure. Playback 65. The crowd is unable to exit the facility. Congregations has dissolved into the following groups of factions: players, coaches, and individual team personnel, presumably barricading themselves off-screen player facilities. The infirm and parent accompanied by their children have retreated to the northeast corner of the balcony rise and have elected to wait out playbacks as they occur, marking their territory with the Celtics championship flag draped over section 3020. Redacted individuals, henceforth referred to as the Faith Keepers, have prophesized of multiple gatherings that they believe that they are combined in the TD Gardens as punishment for rampant consumerism in the post-industrial world, and have burnt offerings of mobile phones, car keys, handbags, wallets in the center court. The past 4 playbacks. The group composes of Boston churchgoers and redacted. A notable portion of adults numbering approximately redacted individuals, however, remain diligent in formulating escape plans. Playback 73. The Faith Keepers grow in number after previous playback incident. There were 3 males in the 3 males are severely injured by improved explosive fastened to the exit door. No damage to the door visible. Playback 95. Hedonistic displays of sex and violence have sufficiently curbed the efforts of the prophesizers. Makeshift curtains are hung around the site of the orgy at Lodge 8 at the urging of Section 320 members. Playback 112. Conditions have deteriorated considerably. Redacted individuals left from the balcony sections opening 10 minutes of in section opening 10 minutes of playback 112. Playback redacted. Why would you redact that? Faithkeepers storm player facilities to retrieve Paul Pierce and LeBron James. The players are ritually sacrificed and their bodies are subsequently displayed on the arena's Jumbotron. The murder of the players seems to have no effect on the recording. Playback redacted. The prophesizers have begun to call for the sacrifice of children. The doors have formed a wall between 320 and the Faithkeepers. Playback redacted. First recorded deviation in light to a deep red color. Data expunged. Redacted is spooky. It is. I like this one. It's legitimately kind of funny. It's just like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Let's sacrifice LeBron James to the gods to appease them. I mean, yeah. All right. I like it. Maybe a couple more and then we switch to Isaac. Or something. This is SCP-1048. Get your ones, 3. Okay. Let's try and copy paste some of these ones. Get this one. Oop, that's not it. 527 is good apparently. LeBron James ruined Space Jam apparently. I didn't bother watching it because it seemed bad. And also I'd have to go to a real movie theater, I think. SCP. Let's get a couple more. 5031. Space Jam was never good, honestly. Check out 22. Okay. Okay, that's the last one I'm going to check. And then we'll see where we're at on time after that one. Let's go and read this one that was first. Yeah, here we go. All right, going to read more or less most of those in random order. SCP-1048. Object class safe. That's crossed out and has been changed to Keter, which is like I think the highest level. Special containment features or procedures. SCP-1048 is free to roam Site-24 as it poses no threat and has been observed to greatly improve the morale of personnel that interact with it. That entire sentence was crossed out and instead says, the whereabouts of SCP-1048 are greatly unknown, though it is still believed that somewhere within Site-24. Subject is to be secured for containment. But any creation... oh, it's this one. This is a good one. I forgot about this guy. He's in the game. The SCP game. Any creations of SCP-1048 should be destroyed on site unless further evidence warrants a less extreme actions. No teddy bears are allowed within Site-24 to prevent any confusions of mistaken identity. Any object that resembles a teddy bear is to be reported to the security team immediately. This is not a joke. We have no idea what 1048's full capabilities are. Who knows how many of those damn things there are out there by now. The bear's in the game, yeah. And he'll show up and wave at you. I think he hunts you down after a while. Spoilers. SCP-1048 is a small teddy bear, approximately 33 centimeters in height. Through testing, how tall is 33 centimeters in American? 12 inches. He's almost 13 inches. He's like a foot tall. That's not okay. All right. It's a decent sized teddy bear. That's about as big as teddy bears usually are. Through testing, composition of the subject revealed no unusual qualities that make it discernible from non-sapient teddy bear. Subject is capable of moving in its own accord and can communicate through a small range of gestures. Subject regularly shows affections to individuals in ways found to be endearing by most people. Affection is usually given in the form of a hug in the lower leg, but subject has been observed dancing, jumping in place, and 2 separate events. It has even drawn childlike pictures for the janitorial staff. All Foundation personnel that have interacted with the subject have responded positively to its affection. Even Class D, normally sociopathic, Class D with normally sociopathic tendencies. Attempts at direct communication with SCP-1048 have not been considered successful. Though it is capable of simple gesture to indicate yes or no answer, it will often not react to lines of questioning concerning its nature or where it originated from. It is not known if this is because SCP-1048 simply does not know the answer, or because it doesn't want to know the answer, or because it doesn't want to answer. Though capable of drawings, it has not used its art as a form of communication beyond showing affection, even when encouraged to do so. More anomalous behavior of SCP-1048 is not observed until approximately 7 months after it was originally secured. It is hypothesized that the subject is able to construct crude replicas of itself using various materials, a process that is yet to be observed directly by Foundation staff. Dr. Carver has suggested that 1048 uses endearing qualities to lull those around it into a false sense of security, allowing it to collect materials to produce its creations. Currently, there are 3 known creations of SCP-1048, designated 1048-A, 48-B, 1048-C. The nature of these creations have been in stark contrast to 1048's general behavior, as all have extreme violence towards human. There you go. SCP-10A, we'll just call them A, B, and C from here on out, because that's like too many words. A. On redacted, which is formatted like the American, or just a way of, I guess it's like the American way of doing dates, where the year is at the back and month or date is the middle, so it could be like European. I've seen a few people do it where the year is first. I don't know why I'm bringing that up. Anyway, A was discovered wandering Site-24, accompanied by SCP-20 or 1048. Subject resembles a teddy bear in similar size and shape to 1048, but it is made entirely out of human ears. Witnesses interviewed reported that it appeared SCP-1048 was giving it a tour of Site-24 to SCP-A. Dr. Carver was called to the scene along with the security team. The security team arrived first and attempted to contain SCP-1048-A. The subject emitted a high-pitched screech that inflicted intense pain into the eyes and ears of everyone in a 10-meter radius. Ear-like growths immediately began growing on those within 5 meters of the subject, covering the body within less than 20 seconds. Every personnel afflicted with the symptom died within 3 minutes, resulting in the death of redacted personnel. It looks like it's probably a number. Including the security team. Entire security team. Autopsies revealed the cause of death was asphyxiation caused by an abundance of ear-like growths manifesting from the mouths and trachea of all the victims. Alternatively, they were just kinky. And who knows, man? Maybe they're just choking themselves out. I'm just saying. Maybe that's the way they did it, for years. Where was I? SCP-1048 and 1048-A were fled the scene before Dr. Carver arrived. It has not been contained since that incident, though sightings of both have been reported on multiple occasions. Shortly after this incident occurred, a researcher was discovered missing an ear. According to him, it was removed through unknown means while he was sleeping. No other victims of ear removal were found, so it's unclear if 1048-A has obtained more ears from another source or if it's capable of duplicating objects and materials. SCP-1048-B. Subject was discovered by several Foundation staff members in the cafeteria of Site-24 on redacted, it's a date. Subject's appearance was nearly identical to 1048-B, but moved in a irregular, jerky manner. Witnesses reported that it appeared as if something was moving inside of B. Subject made no attempt to interact initially, until it burst a seam, revealing what appeared to be a hand and arm of an infant poking out, grasping at the air. At the sight of this, a female researcher named Redacted screamed. 1048-B reacted by emitting a high-pitched scream cry similar to that of a human infant. The subject then attempted to data expunge the screaming researcher, causing massive internal damage. What? Why did you need to redact that? I don't know what the fuck happened. Anyway, in the ensuing chaos, the security team was forced to redacted both researcher and SCP-1048-B. Approximately 3 hours after the incident, Dr. Redacted was found unconscious and bleeding in her office. An abortion had been performed on her while she was sleeping, and the 3 or 8 month old fetus was never found. It is hypothesized that 1048 used Dr. Redacted's unborn child to create 1048-B, undergoing information regarding the possible origin of SCP-1048-B is not to be leaked to survivors currently going therapy for the incidents with 1048-B, as Dr. Carver believes it would be detrimental to their recovery. I mean, yeah, that's fucked up. SCP-48-C. Subject resembles a teddy bear similar to 1048, but composed entirely out of rusted metal scrap. Subject was first cited on redacted date by Dr. Carver in his office while writing up a report on SCP-1048-B incident. Subject fled the room when it noticed Dr. Carver observing it. In an attempt in pursuit of 1048-C, Dr. Carver witnessed the death and maiming of redacted, looks like a single-digit number, Foundation personnel, as subject exhibited extreme violence during its escape. SCP-48-C has not been encountered since this initial sighting, and it's not known whether or not it still resides somewhere within Site-24. The origins of any material possibly used to construct SCP-48-C by 48 or 1048 are currently unknown at this time. Addendum to 1048-1. SCP-2295 is similar, but nearly antithetical in function to 1048. Attempts to establish common origin are ongoing. Extreme caution is to be taken if SCP-1048-A or 1048-C are encountered again. I cannot stress this enough. This is a quote. I cannot stress this enough. The damn thing jumped right through those poor people, says Dr. Carver. What does SCP stand for? Secure, contain, and protect. It's what the people do. You secure the thing, wherever it is. You contain the thing, and then you protect it and other people from it. Was that scientist working while pregnant? I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, this is not the place that I would want to work. I was going to say while pregnant, but just in general, fuck that, you know? Fuck this place. There's a place here in town that's got like a symbol similar to the SCP Foundation logo. Here is SCP-5031, as recommended by someone in chat here. It says, note, file under review. This document has been flagged for possible methodological issues. Please be aware the following information is subject to change and may contain inaccuracies. Item SCP-5031, Object Class Keter, which is violent as fuck, like the bear. SCP-5031 is to be contained in an airtight iron cell at Biosite 59. Structure must be inspected for imperfections on a bi-weekly basis. No other interaction is necessary. SCP-5031 is a non-sapient quasi-humanoid creature of unknown origin. When directly observed, SCP-5031 will temporarily cease to exist until the viewer stops observing the space that SCP-5031 formerly occupied. Traces of its existence, e.g. scratch marks, blood trails, continue to exist when SCP-5031 does not. Video and photography devices do not capture SCP-5031's appearance. However, observing SCP-5031's shadow does not cause the cessation of events, allowing certain physiological traits to be inferred from its silhouette. Normal small head with no discernible neck. Elbows branch into three sets of lower arms each. Elongated torso, 1.9 meters in length. Pelvis terminating in a crescent-shaped protrusion of odious tissue with a blade-like lower edge. It's got a blade dick. Levitating above the ground at a fixed height of about 0.5 meters. Nuke is considered safe on this. Yeah. Safe just means easy to contain. You don't really have to do anything. Like, the bear is safe. There's some stuff that's like, there's another tier, and I figure out what it is. I think it's Euclid, where it's just like, if you do everything just right, you're probably good. Keter is like, this thing will fucking murder you. Go nowhere near it. Keep it contained all of the time. This thing sucks. While SCP-5031 has no nutritional needs, it will nevertheless hunt and consume any animal or human it encounters while using its pendulous lower body to down targets. SCP-5031 does not sleep and is incapable of expression or verbal communication. Addendum as of 14/02/2018. So that reads like a British person. Senior researcher Stanley Huxtable is now acting in the role of HCL supervisor of SCP-5031. The following is a selection of relevant correspondence of SR Huxtable to site director Yusuf Mostaf. Okay. Euculating research progress. So Valentine's Day of 2018. I have no idea who wrote this. Initial impressions. I have no idea who wrote this, but there's a lot I'd like to say to them. I'm not a fan of abandoning a living creature inside of a metal box for 10 years, no matter how pragmatic it may be. It's difficult to fathom how such things were considered norm a decade ago. Have you ever heard something scream from behind 10 inches of iron for hours on end? When I do my redraft, remind me to add anomalous resistance to hoarseness somewhere in the description. Could you work your magic and get the boys to retrofit the containment cube with an aperture and a security vestibule? I'd like to run some tests requiring exposing SCP-5031 to certain stimuli. Listen, I'm all for the whole bleeding heart thing, but this thing just straight up murders you. It's got a blade dick. It goes invisible when you look at it. I'm like, no. Keep that thing in a fucking cage. What are you doing? March 8th, 2018. Incoming raid? Oh, shit. Forward. Installed round 1 test sound. Summary. Forward. Installed speakers in containment vestibule and played various albums of natural ambience and popular music. SCP-5031's propensity for screaming worked as... Oh, hey, Limes. How you doing? There's the raid. We're reading Creepypasta. We are currently reading SCP-5031. Oh, you guys were playing... Oh, did Mike raid me too? Oh, was Mike hanging out with Limes? That would explain why everyone's saying eat the asshole. Yeah, so Mike did end up playing Yoshi's Story? Resident Evil 6 with Limes. Okay. I was like, why is that happening? I'm like, wait, Mike has something to do this. Jumpay, thank you for the 15 months of support. So currently we're reading about 5031. If you haven't read SCPs before, this is like some sort of fucked up creature or whatever that's being contained in a place. Tipas, thank you for the 52 months of support. And this thing goes invisible if you look at it. And so this guy's been given the ability to run tests on it. And so this is round 1 test sound summary. Installed speakers in the containment vestibule and played various albums of natural ambience and popular music. SCP-5031's propensity for screaming worked as a convenient way to measure its stress levels. 100% would be considered typical screaming, volume and duration, over 48 hours, and 0 would be no screaming at all. Morning forest ambience stress level 43%. Gigi Gigi Mars, thank you for the 3 months of support. Seaside Paradise ambience 48%. Deep Grotto ambience 62%. Best of Mozart 13%. Best of Inya 18%. Best of Ben Folds 6%. That's interesting. Just regular, like a little bit of screaming. Best of Jethro Tull 59%. Most people hate Jethro Tull, I think. Who's Jethro Tull again? I just did that dig and I don't even remember. Jethro Tull. Who the fuck are you? Oh, they have a flute. Oh, that's unfortunate. And they're still touring. They're named after a band or a guy. Oh my god, they've had so many musicians in their band. Who the fuck is this? Yeah, I have no idea who this is. I'll be honest. Anyway, it turns out that Jethro Tull was almost as bad as Deep Grotto Ambience. Efficacy of music for stress reduction gradually decreases over time. I've assembled a playlist of SCP-5031's favorite music to play on shuffle in its enclosure in perpetuity. Stress levels consistently remain in the 15 to 25% range, baseline adjusted accordingly. Round 2 test play summary. Threw a softball into the enclosure. SCP-5031 sliced the ball in two. Tossed a basketball into the enclosure. SCP-5031 sliced the ball open. Rolled a bowling ball into the enclosure. SCP-5031 scratched the ball a couple grooves into the ball, then rolled the ball around the enclosure with the blunt end of its tail for 20 minutes. Stress levels remained less than 60% after play. Rolled another bowling ball into the enclosure. SCP-5031 used the blunt end of its tail to hit the ball together for a while. Stress levels remained at under 40% after play. Bowling ball chipped would no longer roll properly, unplanned. Stress levels increased 115%. Removed bowling ball provided. Stress levels fell back down to around 40%. Tossed basketball into enclosure. SCP-5031 picked up and played with the ball. Stress levels remained less than 20% after play. Is this SCP some kind of cute lizard? It's like an invisible murder creature. Let me get a description of it. So you can't see it directly, but you can see its shadow. So, a normally small head with no discernible neck, elbows branching into 3 sets of lower arms each, elongated torso, approximately 1.9 meters in length. That's about just shy of 6 feet, I think. Right around the 6 foot mark. Pelvis terminating in a crescent-shaped protrusion with an odysseus tissue with a, I don't know what that word is, with a blade-like lower edge. Levitates above the ground at a fixed height of about 0.5 meters. Afterward, SCP-5031 began to use its hands to play with the basketball, possibly to avoid accidentally damaging it. Motor skills comparable to that of a toddler. SCP-5031 still prefers bowling ball for kicking. Forward. Test 3. Food. Summary. SCP-5031 was given the choice between 2 potential food sources placed at opposite ends of the enclosure. Human corpse or pig carcass? Pig carcass. Pig carcass or chicken carcass? Pig carcass. Pig carcass or rotisserie chicken? Rotisserie chicken. Chicken carcass or rotisserie chicken? Rotisserie chicken. Live chicken, rotisserie chicken. Rotisserie chicken. Roasted turkey, rotisserie chicken. Neither, presumed stated. While it is true that 5031 does not necessarily need to eat, feeding it regularly seems to have marked a decrease in average stress levels. Stress reduction seemed to scale proportionally with the quality of food provided. As of Also of note is 5031 prefers to use its nail to pry and cut meat into bite-sized portions, rather than to rip the meat into chunks with its teeth or hands. Round 4 test, coexistence summary. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, common chicken, introduced into enclosure. SCP-5031 observed subject from distance for several minutes, then rolled a bowling ball towards the subject at high speed. Subject was killed instantly. SCP-5031's stress levels rose immediately and dramatically. Test 2. Bowling balls removed from the enclosure. SCP fed until sated. Live subject, common chicken, introduced into enclosure. SCP-5031 gently rolled basketball towards subject. Ball hit subject lightly. Subject responded with a small cry and moved away. SCP-5031 did not engage with subject further. Test 3. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, Class D, blindfolded, introduced to enclosure, and instructed to sit and roll basketball forward, then wait until it came back and roll it away again. SCP-5031 successfully rolled the ball back and forth for several minutes. SCP-5031 eventually abandoned the activity and approached the subject. Per safety protocol, subject removed their blindfold to terminate the activity. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Test 4. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, Class D, introduced into the enclosure and are instructed to toss a tennis ball at the wall, let it ricochet behind them, and catch and repeat. SCP-5031 stood back behind the subject and successfully engaged in a game of catch, mimicking the subject's action of letting the ball ricochet against the wall. Afterward, SCP-5031's motor skills appear to be rapidly improving. Round 5 of tests. Symbols. Summary. Forward. 5 LCD sub-displays were fitted into the wall of SCP-5031's enclosure, each with a lit button and a food dispenser underneath. 2 stations activated, 1 screen displaying an image of a rock, dispenses rocks. Screen 2 displayed an image of a rotisserie chicken. If its button is its button dispenses pieces of chicken. SCP poked at the image of the chicken for a few minutes until it eventually hit the button. Chicken was dispensed until SCP-5031 was satisfied. Test 2, screen displays and materials dispensed were swapped. SCP hit the button and had previously hit the previous day and received a rock. It then went to the other screen and hit the button to dispense rotisserie chicken. Why are we making it better at what it's doing? Like, do we need to make it better? Like, you got it in a box. It's a murder thing. I mean, I guess you should maybe try and get it to calm down. It seems like it likes playing. Screen displays and materials dispersed were swapped back to their original positions and swapped again at random intervals after first distribution. SCP went directly to the button next to the image of the chicken, experienced apparently confusion after a mid-disruption swap, quickly learned to watch the images. Test 4. More stations, screens, buttons, dispensers were activated. 4 stations with the word rock dispense rocks. 1 station with the word chicken dispense chicken. Arrangement set to change random several times over the following days. Through trial and error, SCP 5031 determined that the station dispensed chicken. SCP-5031 subsequently went to the station marked chicken whenever displays were swapped. Test 5. All stations deactivated except for 1. Screen displayed the word chicken. 7 blocks of wood were set in front of the station, each marked with 1 letter of the word chicken. The station's button was set to remain unlit and inactive until the buttons were arranged in the correct order. SCP expressed apparent frustration, hitting the inactive button repeatedly and striking the wall with his tail. Test 6. Same as the previous test, but the screen displayed the word chicken with each letter overlaid with a photo of a wooden block. After 12 minutes, SCP-5031 successfully assembled the word chicken. Afterward, it can learn language, Yusuf. Round 6 test vocabulary results. SCP-5031 has learned how to use letter blocks to form the following words: chicken, turkey, pork, tofu, beef, bread, more salt, more pepper, more cooked. Music: Mozart, Enya, bin folds, forest, seaside, white noise, more volume, less volume, silence. Play: basketball, bowling ball, tennis ball, cat, dog, human, Robert, Stanley, alone. Robert has a footnote, and I can click to scroll all the way down to the footnotes, but it says D52125, so apparently some D-class personnel. D-class personnel, for those of you who haven't read these before, some guy who is on death row that they faked his death or whatever, and now he's a test subject, and so they kind of don't really give a shit if they live or not. Usually used in testing like this. Spaghetti Depressi, think of it, the 12th year of support. Holy shit. 1 year of more cooked, less volume. Human guinea pigs, for exactly this kind of thing. Afterwards, though, through its increased vocabulary and human interaction, SCP-5031 has made the following progress. Establish food preferences and dish pairings. Learn to sing, non-verbally. What? Learn to juggle. Six-handed juggling is something to behold. Round 7 tests. Activities. Test 1. Introduce table, paper, crayons into the enclosure. Live subject, SCP. So this is the guy previously mentioned, Robert. They say you'll be released within 30 days. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, we'll let you out. Just do this thing. So, like, people are, cool, I get to not get lethal injectioned? Sure. How do they behold it with... Yeah, I know, that's kind of a weird thing. I mean, I guess the balls are still juggling. You can still see that, and you can see the shadow. So you can see, you know, six-handed juggling happening. You just can't experience it directly. Anyway, what was the name? Robert? Robert. Robert learned to draw, discerning subjects depicted in its art. Oh, no. Let me try that again. Live subject Robert introduced to demonstrate drawing for SCP-10 or 5031. SCP-5031 learned to draw. Presumably, Robert knew how to draw before putting in there. Discernible subjects depicted in artworks include SCP 52125, SCP-5031, a rotisserie chicken, a cat, and myself. It's kind of creepy. Introduce piano to enclosure. Live subject, Robert, instructed to play chopsticks blindfolded. And invited SCP-5031 to play along. Subject had time to practice beforehand. SCP-5031 learned chopsticks in 2 days, though it appears to be more interested in making its original music, complete with vocals. These compositions might be considered to be crude by human standards. Test 3. Introduce spice rack into enclosure. Live subject, Robert, instructed to demonstrate seasoning meats. SCP-5031 spent almost 3 days straight experimenting with different combinations of food and spices. SCP-5031 assembled the words more with letter blocks after running out of garlic powder. He's kind of cute. I mean, like, it's a murder thing, but it's kind of cute, I'll be honest. Afterwards, 5031 only engages with arts and music when accompanied by Robert, but continues to be preoccupied with food preparation even when alone. Round 8 tests. I'm forgetting to tell you when these things are happening. It's been like a year since they started. This is now January 4th, 2019. Basic kitchen utensils installed into enclosures. Live subject Robert instructed to demonstrate the preparation of various recipes. Recipes learned: quesadilla, taco, hamburger, fried rice, Mongolian beef, spicy chicken curry, chocolate chip cookies, sponge cake with buttercream, fudge, clam chowder, steak, macaroons, chicken abdo, I've never heard of that, smoked salmon, profilates. SCP-5031 is a fucking lad. SCP-5031 has a severe peanut allergy. This should be included in the revised containment procedures. I would also like to note that SCP-5031 is now a better chef than the average human and has begun to create its own recipes. Robert has volunteered to a taste test. SCP-5031 has produced its first word, salt. We're all immensely proud. Final test summary. This happened on November 29th, 2019. SCP-5031 was given 2 months to develop a 3-course meal to serve at Biosite 59 cafeteria for personnel working over Thanksgiving. The selections were as follows. Sweet potato turmeric miso soup. Second course, duck confit with apple cider glaze and cranberry compote topping, paired with butternut squash ganoush on a bed of kale seasoning and truffle salt. Third course, a slice of sliced Casanova pie topped with French vanilla ice cream and maple hazelnut syrup. Actually fucking good. The invisible lizard's now a chef. This is 5031. SCP-5031 has also debuted a original composition, Piano Sonata for 6 hands, and a live performance broadcast from its enclosure. Personnel's response was overwhelmingly positive. SCP-5031 stress levels at 0%. Testing successfully concluded. Revised documentation submitted for approval. Aww. Footnotes. It presumably has an extra digestive capacity. And sharp implants withheld per security protocols, but it can use its tail to cut food. So it's Keter class, or Keter class, but it seems like as long as it's well fed and entertained, it's pretty okay. Yeah, this is a really good one. I like this one. He turned into a good boy. I'm going to read the 3 that I've got recommended here real quick, because my voice is about to give out. SCP-3521. This one was recommended as well. It's not safe. I would still say it's Keter. Like, it's not safe at this point. Containment class, safe. Disruption class, Vellum. Risk class, danger. Special containment features. The entire supply of SCP-3521 is located beneath Site-39-EX biohazard waste site. It's currently inaccessible. Foundation waste management team are currently working to remove the biohazard waste to recover 3521, as well as any other items that can be recovered from Site-92-EX's location. SCP-3521 is a group designated for a supply of 16 pharmaceutical gel tablets created by an individual called Dado in collected messages. DADO. Currently believed to be an amateur parapharmacologist. In affiliation with an unknown assassin. SCP-3521 instances are light yellow color and roughly 1.2 centimeters in length. So it's like an Advil capsule. So yeah, so this one's safe because like you don't really have to do much to keep it under lock and key. You just put it in a box. No one's gonna use it. It's fine, probably. I actually haven't read it. Read it. SCP-3521 dissolve quickly in water and are made up of an unknown and likely anomalous series of components. Primary anomalous nature of SCP-3521 is only revealed once 3521 has been ingested by a subject. Shortly after consumption, an extremely large number of unpeeled bananas will appear to manifest in the subject's stomach at an indeterminate rate. Based on the information recovered during the discovery of 3521, it's believed the volume of bananas is intended to cause harm in an acute lethal dose of ionizing radiation. While bananas do contain trace amounts of radioactive potassium, the quantity manifested induces is much more obvious causes of death in insanguination, suffocation, or in most cases of SCP-35, gross crush trauma from 9.5 million kilograms of bananas manifesting in the subject's stomach. Addendum 3000, no, that would be, 3,521. Point 1. Discovery and testing. The collective supply of SCP-3521 was discovered after a shootout between Atlanta Police Department and an unknown group of individuals believed to be in connection with a heroin manufacturing ring. During the investigation, the storehouse individuals had been guarding a bag containing every known instance of 3521 was discovered along with a recently registered cell phone, commonly referred to as a burner phone. The contents of the messages contained in this phone are available in 3521.2. Full investigation of the storehouse yielded several additional anomalous items which were recovered by the Foundation personnel with instances of 3521. During processing of Site 92, some D-class personnel was chosen for testing the effects of SCP-3521. Why did the full investigation... Okay, so there are other anomalous stuff, so they decided to go ahead and collect everything. The D-class person was given a dose of 3521 and placed under observation. Based on recovered video footage, after about 30 minutes, they briefly complained of an intense stomach pain before expanding rapidly and disappearing under a completely growing mass of bananas. The testing chamber was consumed within seconds. A significant portion of the site's lower levels destroyed within minutes. Rescue efforts began almost immediately as a significant number of staff were also trapped below the surface in areas now inaccessible due to the expanse of bananas. Further hindering rescue efforts was the fact that the mass of bananas, which quickly collapsed under the pressure of the earth around them, turned into a thick slurry, which was extremely radioactive. Due to this, the first external notice of Site 92 had experienced a critical event in which was when Site 17 received a radiation warning notification, usually the result of a reactor failure. Site 92 was evacuated, though 23 members of the site research staff and 61 other personnel were killed in the aftermath of the event due to the volume of radioactive biological waste beneath Site 92. Got it there in the end. Every accessible anomalous object. Fortunately, no anomalous objects had to be moved. Site 92 was strictly an anomalous object repository, was moved to nearby sites, and site was decommissioned. Recovery efforts are still ongoing. Addendum 3521.2, recovered cell phone data. Note the following is a relevant excerpt from a text message conversation recovered from a cell phone found near the supply of 3521 during its discovery. New job is in. I need something from you. What are you looking for? When I worked with Little B, he usually got me plutonium. No plutonium. What? Plutonium too easy to trace. Need to be discreet. No plutonium. What do you have in mind? Potassium. How's potassium more discreet than plutonium? Easy to hide. We'll use banana. Bananas are radioactive? Yes. How many bananas will you need? You let me worry about that. When you need. 4/15. I don't know what that is. You know, I know you're supposed to be some kind of savant, but I don't know about this. Are you sure radioactive bananas are more discreet than plutonium? Because I feel like they aren't. You tell me. When you see plutonium on the ground and you see banana, which you get more worried about? I get that. But again, it's going to be a lot of bananas, right? Or just one really radioactive one. You just need to trust me, Dado. Bananas are just as effective as plutonium. Plus, you can't trace banana. Who does the finger get pointed at? Grocery store? Okay. Just wasn't sure. Can't afford to fuck this up again. Don't usually work with new guys. Good. Trust Dato. Everything be okay. No worry. Banana even better than plutonium. I mean, I feel like this is just sort of like a meme based on the fact that, like, technically you could get radiation poisoning from bananas, though the amount of bananas you need to eat is ridiculously high, and it'll pass through your system before you can actually consume enough bananas to die from it. So, yeah, if you just spawned, was it how many tons of bananas? Like, yeah, that would give you radiation poisoning enough to kill you, but you'll die from the weight first. I love that. I love this. This is so fucking stupid. A lot more articles involving Dato. Oh, that's good. This is item 527. Containment class Euclid. Disruption class Vellum. Risk notice. Risk class Notice. Special containment features. 527 is to be contained within a standard human domicile at Site 19. No other containment procedures are necessary. SCP-527 is a male humanoid, 1.67 meters in height, which is biologically non-anomalous, with the exception of its head, which is biologically non-anomalous, with the exception of its head, which is that of a Plutonus semifacius, or gold barbfish. So it's a human, but it's got a goldfish head. SCP-527 displays no other anomalous qualities. The head of SCP-527 functions as the same head of any other non-anomalous human. SCP-527 is capable of human speech. A taboo reading Mr. Fish and Little Misters by Dr. Wonderment appears to have appears on the bottom of its left foot. Mr. Fish and Little Misters, and it's got like a rights reserved thing. Discovery. SCP-527 was discovered in Boston by Foundation agents in 2002 and was moved to Site 19 in 2004. Initial interview. Begin log. Dr. Baker, thank you for your cooperation thus far, SCP-527. We're just doing this interview as a way to gauge any potentially anomalous behavior we might expect. All right, let's begin. Are you capable of breathing underwater? No. Are you capable of communicating with other fish or other sea-based life forms? No. I see. When did you first discover your condition? Were you any chance attacked or bitten by a fish you didn't recognize, or experienced any encounter with a sea-based deity of any kind? No. Well, then you've been like this since birth? Yep. All right. Do you know of any anomalous traits that you might exhibit? Sure don't. Like I told the other guy, this is all it is. You're looking at it. Lie, stripes, hot, sweetie. They all good stuff. I'm just a guy with the fish head. Do you have any idea why your creator might have fashioned you this way? Fuck if I know. Addendum 527.2, recovered document. When asked, SCP-527 was able to produce the following document. Wow, you found your own Little Mister, a limited edition collection from Dr. Wondertainment. Find them all and become Mr. Collector. And then there's a list of several different people. Are these all different SCP? Oh my god, it's a fuck ton of SCPs. Show everyone SCP-527's image. Yes, hold up. What is a Euclid again? Because this seems like super, like, not threatening. He's just like a fucking guy. He just happens to be a fish man. Little top hat. I love that, like, do you have any idea why your creator might have fashioned you in this way? Fuck if I know. I love that. All sentient is the Euclid. Okay. And this is going to be the last one I read because my voice is starting to give out on me. And I've been at it for like 2.5 hours. SCP-2206. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Containment of SCP-2206 is currently unfeasible due to the number and distribution of its broadcasting locations. To combat the growing public awareness of 2206, mass disinformation campaign has been launched with the goal of disguising 2206 as a work of fiction. To this end, the following actions have been taken, will be, and/or are continuing to be taken. Creation of a fictional website for SCP-2206, describing it as a radio show parodying popular sports talk radio. Creation of 2206 merchandise sold through an online storefront on a aforementioned website. Creation of advertisements for 2206, mimetically engineered to decrease listeners' willingness to believe that SCP-2206 is anything other than a work of fiction. Staging of live shows emulating 2206 broadcasts performed by a mobile task force Lambda, sports casting performers. Okay. Efforts to locate and neutralize the source of 2206 are ongoing. SCP-2206 is a series of radio broadcasts that began occurring throughout the continental United States in 2008. These broadcasts mainly occur during the local evening, which usually coincides with the regional baseball games. While it's possible to trace individual occurrences of 2206 back to their apparent broadcast locations, no source has been found for them. It is currently theorized that 2206 is an inter-universal broadcast from an alternate universe significantly different from ours. The content of 2206 is a sports commentary and discussion show. While the focus of the show is a sport referred to as baseball, the sport is significantly different from any known version of baseball played on Earth. Addendum, or footnote. The following section makes exclusive use of baseball terminology. Those unfamiliar with these terms are advised to refer to the Foundation's primer on American baseball. Differences include batters do not receive walks. The only way they get on base is to successfully hit the ball. Bats are constructed from aluminum or lightweight composites instead of northern white ash wood typically used in the construction of professional level bats. Larger playing field. The distance between the bases has been stated as being 180 feet, approximately 55 meters, while the approximate distance between home plate and the furthest point of the back wall has been given at 1,600 feet. Okay, how big is, for reference, what is the distance between two bases in baseball? 88 feet or so. 26.8 meters. So it's about almost twice as far. Okay. Height strength fences are high-strength fences constructed from various different materials of great height, entirely surrounding the field for protection of spectators. On-field fights between opposing teams are common, expected, and considered a legitimate manner of contesting an umpire's call. Yes, serious injuries and fatalities are significantly more common. The use of steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs is mandatory. Players are highly divergent from baseline humans. Genetically modified and cybernetically enhanced humans, sapient ectomorphs, androids, and other anomalous humans are present in some combination on all teams. Fan superstitions appear to be capable of actually affecting the outcome of the game. Commenters from SCP-2206, who are by all indication baseline humans, treat these differences as usual and normal, providing commentary in a very similar tone and style to that of a normal sports talk radio show. The following teams are known to play in SCP-2206 baseball. This has a list that says team, league, MLB counterpart, and notes. Under the footnote, Play an ad soon as possible. You're right. I should. Let me play a minute ad so I can go and get some water and kiss my wife, and then we'll read about the teams. Probably should do this more often when doing creepypasta reading. I'll be right back. Okay. I love you. I got to see my wife. She's cute. Ooh, newest AAA game. Yay. Video games. Alright. Anyway, back. I should run more ads. You're right. Like Mike was saying. Especially if my voice is going to give out like this halfway through. Anaheim Avengers. This is first team. League. Oh, and it says under league, as normal as Major League Baseball, SCP-2206 baseball leagues are divided up into American League and a National League. Okay. Anaheim Avengers. League American. MLB counterpart, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Notes, while it has been stated that they are the second team in history from Anaheim, it is currently unknown what happened to the first. Team, Atlanta Aztecs. League National. MLB counterpart, Atlanta Braves. In lieu of an opening pitch, the team starts their home games by ritually sacrificing a B-list celebrity. Baltimore Terrapins. League American. MLB counterpart, Baltimore Orioles. Though they are named after Maryland State reptile, their mascot is apparently a 3-ton acid-spitting lizard capable of launching poisonous spines from its back. It's possible that the SCP-2206 universe, this is the state reptile of Maryland. Team, Boston Red Shirts. League American. MLB counterpart, Boston Red Sox. Currently holds the record for the most fatalities sustained in a single game, set during a 1903 game against the New York Highlanders. After losing their entire roster, the Red Shirts began drafting spectators onto their team. They eventually won 1-0. It's a Star Trek reference. Chicago Black Sox. League American. MLB counterpart, Chicago White Sox. Conspired to fix the 1919 World Series, which they won in a 4-game sweep to the confusion of all involved. Team, Chicago Orphans. League National. MLB counterpart, Chicago Cubs. The team has been without a manager, owner, and coaching staff since 1897. They were evicted from their ballpark in 1902. Despite this, they are one of the most successful teams in SCP-2206 baseball, having claimed over 20 World Series titles. Team, Cincinnati Communist. League Nationals. MLB counterpart, Cincinnati Reds. Between 1952 and 1993, the entire team was illegal under U.S. law. Team, Cleveland Exiles. League National. I'm going to stop saying the league and all that stuff because, I'll just say American and then their counterpart. So, for example, Cleveland Exiles, American. Cleveland Indians. The team has not played a single game in Cleveland since 1900. Colorado Blizzards. National. Colorado Rockies. Their stadium is perpetually buried under a meter of snow, providing them with a significant home field advantage. Detroit Wolverines. American. Detroit Tigers. Members of the team appear to be immortal. Florida Flounders. National. Miami Marlins. As the only entirely amphibious team, they represent the United States in the Pisces Cup, a 5-game series played in the Atlantis Aquatics. By Atlantean lore, the possessors of the cup has fishing rights in the North Atlantic. the Houston Colts 45s. American, Houston Astros. Singularly responsible for the 1972 ban on use of firearms during play. Kansas City Kings, American, Kansas City Royals. Actually, two teams, one from Kansas City, Missouri, and the other one from Kansas City, Kansas, both of which claim to be the rightful heirs of the title of Kansas City Kings. Los Angeles Defectors, National, Los Angeles Dodgers. Originally the Brooklyn Excelsiors, in 1958, the entire team, stadium, and ownership were transplanted to Los Angeles overnight, narrowly escaping the assassination plot orchestrated by the New York Highlanders. The entire SCP is a joke, if you haven't gotten that by this point. Minnesota Clones. American, Minnesota Twins. I don't know why I can't say this. Notable for being the first turn to make exclusive use of their cloned players, earning them their name. The roster has remained unchanged since 1985, consisting entirely of genetic clones of previous players. Montreal Volcanoes, National, Washington Nationals. Their home games are usually played inside of an active volcano of Mount Royal. Our universe, Mount Royal, is extinct. It resulted in incineration of an entire team, along with their opponents, the Toronto Razors, and thousands of spectators when the volcano erupted during Game 5 of the 2005 Pierce Center Cup. New York Highlanders. American, New York Yankees. Repeatedly referred to as the most hated team in baseball by various SCP-2206 commentators, the New York Highlanders have a history of using taxes considered underhanded even by 2206 standards. After forcing their fellow New York teams, the New York Gothams and Brooklyn Excelsiors, to flee the city in 1958, they remained the sole SCP-2206 baseball team in New York until the foundation of the New York Urbans in 1961. The New York Urbans, National New York Mets, nicknamed Murderin' Urbans in 1969 due to their assassination of the entire roster of the Baltimore Terrapins on the eve of Game 1 of that year's World Series. As a direct result, off-field murder was banned in the following season. This ban would not be lifted until 2000. Oakland Elephants, American, Oakland Athletics. Spectators are physically incapable of forgetting their games. Philadelphia Phantoms, National, Philadelphia Phillies. From their inception, the entire team has been cursed to haunt their stadium as ghosts, quote. Footnote. Believed to be a Class A ectomorphs based on 2206 commentary. Until they can go an entire season without losing a game. Their ability to complete this goal is hindered by their inability to play away games. Phoenix Firebirds, National. Arizona Diamondbacks, the first team to play a stadium with a fireproof roof. Pittsburgh Rebels. That's a weird note to make. It implies all the other ones are not fireproof. Pittsburgh Rebels, National. Pittsburgh Pirates staged an uprising against the commissioner of baseball in 1910, which ended in failure after the commissioner killed his assailants with a death stare. San Diego Whales, National, San Diego Padres. The players have repeatedly been targets of Japanese whaling ships despite not being actual whales. It's like a Welcome to Night Vale skit. San Francisco Ghosts, National, San Francisco Giants. Originally the New York Gothams, in 1958, the entire team, stadium, and ownership were transplanted to San Francisco overnight after narrowly failing to escape an assassination plot orchestrated by the New York Highlanders. Seattle Storms, American, Seattle Mariners. The entire team was banned for the duration of 2009 after using divine intervention from multiple weather gods. Footnote, the existence of which appears to be common knowledge in SCP-2206's universe. To influence the outcome of their games, SCP-2206 baseball rules limit teams to one patron deity per season. Seattle Autopilots, National Milwaukee Brewers. The entire team's roster includes 2 self-driving cars, 4 unmanned aerial vehicles, 3 autonomous vacuum cleaners. It is unknown how they play baseball. The St. Louis Cardinals, National St. Louis Cardinals. Although they share the name with our universe's St. Louis Cardinals, in SCP-2206, Cardinals have an actual ordained Catholic cardinal as their mascot, who's ordained bishop of the Roman Catholic Church and is a member of the College of Cardinals. This is a stark contrast of our universe's St. Louis's Cardinals, which do not. Tampa Bay Devils, American. Tampa Bay Rays. Players' salaries are paid in human souls. Texas Renegades, American. Texas Rangers. In 1993, the entire team quit baseball and formed a basketball team, only to return to play baseball in 1995. Toronto Razors, American. Toronto Blue Jays. As part of Ontario's ongoing war against facial hair, the team offered free shaves to spectators. That is where this one ends. What a weird fucking thing to have me read. I mean, yeah. I think, okay, so who are you rooting for? It's okay if you don't remember the name, just, what's their gimmick? I know you said last one, but this one is literally one sentence. Okay. I like the one that's like, yeah, I think I like the one that's got Roombas. Don't read real J. Okay. SCP blank dash J. Dash J ones are, joke ones. Item SCP something or other J. Object class blank. Special containment procedures. In a box in my office. Description. It's a rock. It makes you procrastinate. Addendum. Probably mimetic or something. I'll finish writing this up later. Dr. Vang. It's good. Yeah, I really do. I think I like the Roomba team the best. Good one. Special containment feature or procedures in a box in my office. Nice. Let's check out the Boro. Yeah. There's one new art here, and it's from Wessel, and it's of Monster Prom. Is there another one from Monster Prom? Yes. Okay, it's the other one that we looked at yesterday. This one's from Wessel. I'm going to show it off, and my voice is going to give out, and I'm going to stop. It's me as drawn in the style of Monster Prom. It's wonderful. Competitive dating game. What a weird fucking idea for a game. Wonderful. Very cool. Thank you so much. You can mod Monster Prom. So someone could add me to the game. Competitive speed dating? I guess it is. Yeah. Are you going to play it with Mike? That's a Mike thing to decide. Add H scenes. We're not adding me to the game to add H scenes. Oh, you're saying that is a separate thing. So you want porn of the characters in the game. I'm pretty sure if you Googled for it, you'd find it. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and assume. You know what? Hold up. The answer is yes. Quite a bit, actually. Mostly a Polygeist and the demon guy. Sometimes together. Sometimes it's gay. Sometimes it's not. So there you go. Anyway, that was me for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. If you want to see more creepypastas, let me know. It had a slow start, but we got a pretty big bump thanks to Limes and Mike rating. Thank you guys so much for doing that. And thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go and go. Thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow with something else. I don't know what yet. Maybe just Isaac. I feel like playing Isaac. I just haven't had a chance this week because we've been playing other stuff. I want you to read more SCPs. SCPs are a good one to read. I have a whole bunch that I didn't end up reading tonight because we got stuck reading SCPs. But they were good ones. They were legitimately very good ones. So if you have recommendations, SCPs are really good to recommend. But I'm going to go rest the Thrussie. Don't call it a Thrussie. I'll see you guys later.